Hi, everyone. Welcome to Layer 7 API Security March office hours. We have here with us today Daren Chernoff. He is Senior Principal Software Support Engineer. He will be leading the presentation today. And I just want to remind everyone that during his presentation, as usual, you guys will all be hard muted. However, you can type in your questions in the panel. And we will be monitoring the questions as they come in and take some time at the end to go through them all and answer them. Also, as a quick reminder, this is going to be recorded, and the recording will be available on the same platform as well as YouTube. So we always download our office hours and make it available on the YouTube channel. If you're not aware of the YouTube channel or haven't joined, I'm going to be putting that link in the chat so that you can take a minute, right, to go and join our YouTube channel where there's a lot of good information and videos out there. Lastly, I want to point out that Daren has provided a PowerPoint of the presentation. So it's actually in the handout section. So you can download it from there if you're interested in having the presentation. So with that, I'm going to stop and turn it over to Daren now. Thank you, Daren.
Thank you, Pam. Yeah, so clients, a lot of their end of year freeze is behind us now. We're well into the upgrade season. And so from the support side, we've been getting a bunch of issues on upgrades. You know, what's the process to upgrade? How do I get the upgrade files? I'm trying to upgrade, but I'm encountering a problem. So we just thought it'd be a good idea to go over this process during an office hour session. So let's get into it. So today we're just going to take a look. We're going to go through the process for the VM gateway appliance upgrade. Then we'll go through the software gateway upgrade. Then we're going to change gears a bit, take a look at support, top KBs that we typically are providing to clients. And then we're going to take a look at documentation, good sections of the documentation that we find helpful to review and go through. So the gateway 11.0 to 11.1 upgrade for the VM appliance. Some things to know: it's an in-place upgrade, so there's no need to deploy new gateway VMs. You're just going to be doing in-place. It's not like going from 10x to 11x where you have to set up new VMs and do a manual expedited upgrade. So in-place upgrade from version 10 to 11 is not supported. No new gateway license will be required. Your current 11x license that you have in place is fine. So no need to worry about obtaining a new license for going to 11.1. Big thing for the platform side of the 11.1 upgrade, we are updating the Debian OS from 11.x Bullseye to 12.5 Bookworm. Before we start the upgrade, definitely make sure that you have a recent VM snapshot in place and event a restore is required for any reason. You're going to have to apply a recent 11.0 monthly platform patch to the gateway. This ensures the gateway is running on the most up-to-date version of the MPP software and make sure that other requirements are in place for a successful upgrade. In-place upgrade will actually fail if you do not have a recent MPP installed. And by recent, I'm saying like if you go back to like August 2024, that's going to be sufficient enough. If you're a client that generally doesn't install MPPs or haven't installed any, then you're going to have to get one of the later ones there installed in order for the upgrade to complete. Again, before beginning the upgrade, we want to make sure that the gateway, the Debian OS point release is at least at 11.8. Again, you'll accomplish that by having a later MPP installed. If you're not sure of the current version, you can just take a look at the etc Debian version file to determine what the current Debian release is. Before initiating the in-place upgrade, we do recommend to ensure that there's enough space on certain mount points. You could check that with the df command. And just as a general guide, what we're looking for the root mount, 4.5 gig, temp 1 gig, varlog audit 6 meg, boot 60 meg, var temp 1 meg, Farlog 520 meg, and opt 1 gig. If you do need to add disk space to any of these points, we do have a link there to our documentation, which goes through a step-by-step process on how to increase the space for any of those mounts. With the 11.1 upgrade, we provide a in-place upgrade readiness checker script. So it's really good utility that's provided here for 11.1. What you want to do is get that over to your gateway node and just give that execute permission, and then you can just fire it off. The script is provided to help identify known issues before performing an in-place upgrade and minimize the risk of any problems being encountered during the upgrade process. It's going to check for a number of conditions and also recommend mitigations if any problems are found. So some items checked by the scripter include things as the gateway form factor, if any additional packages have been installed, make sure there's that sufficient disk space on the mount points, MySQL version, and your current Debian OS point release. Just wanted to go back to the additional packages. A lot of clients, they do like to install like other OS utilities or maybe some monitoring tools. That's all fine, but we suggest to uninstall those before the upgrade. Once the upgrade is complete, then you can reinstall those packages, because we're not going to touch any of that stuff during our upgrade. So it's best to have them removed. So just a little screenshot here of what executing the script looks like. So as you can see, it's going to start up, determine the gateway form factor, determine if there's, again, any package deviation, any additional binaries are in place, confirm the mount space, determine the Debian point release. And here you can see on this box, no MPPs were applied, so this check fails. So we'll say their point release check fail, and we'll give a mitigation to upgrade Debian from the current version, 11.6 to the latest, apply that latest monthly platform patch. It then continues on with its checks, disk layout, MySQL version, CRs, and then at the end, it's going to tell you whether it's a success or not. In this case, it's going to say some checks failed. Are you sure you want to continue? So you don't need to use this script in order to actually go through the upgrade process. You can use your typical way, going through the SSG config menu, or just using the patch utility that we have. Or you could just use the script at the end here. If you want to continue, it's going to give you, if you say yes, it's going to then ask you, prompt you for, okay, where's the path to the patch that you want to apply, and you can just install it this way. Under the covers, it just does the same thing as calling our patch sh command directly. If the upgrade fails for any reason, we think it's best to revert to a clean snapshot, mitigate any problems that might have been detected with the readiness checker script, and then proceed with a fresh upgrade. Because we've seen some instances where if you address things and then you go back and run the readiness checker script again, you kind of get some false positives. Mostly due with that packet deviation, because we have very explicit number of binaries and what we expect to be installed. So in some instances, we were finding that the readiness checker script was giving some false positives. So if that happens, we think it's best revert to a snapshot, take care of any problems that were detected, and then proceed with a fresh upgrade. So where can you get the files required to do the upgrade? So you're going to want to log into support, broadcom.com, go under your download section, choose your gateway appliance, and then you'll see a link there for 11.1, and you can pull down the gateway appliance upgrader zip file. That's going to contain the files that you need. And as far as the MPPs, we have those available on our solutions and patches page. So with that, what are the exact files required to perform the upgrade? So again, we're going to want a later 11.0 MPP in place first. Grab that from our solutions and patches page. We're going to need the Gateway 11.1 platform update. So that's the Layer 7 API platform update, version 11.1 Debian 17707. That's going to update the underlying OS to Debian 12. we'll need the gateway 11.1 application patch. And then we do also recommend at the end, apply a later 11.1 monthly platform patch as well. So what is the upgrade process going to look like? So we're going to make sure we have our prereqs completed, have that later 11.0 MPP applied, make sure we have our required disk space, we have our VM snapshot in place, we ran our readiness checker script, took care of any issues, and at that point we're ready to proceed. So the first thing that we're going to do is apply our platform update version 11.1 patch and reboot. That'll get us to Debian 12. We will still be 11.0, database at 11.0. At that point, we're ready to apply our gateway Debian version 11.1 application patch. That's going to update the gateway software. Reboot again. Then there will be a gateway 11.1, database still 11.0 at Debian 12. Then at that point, we're ready to upgrade the database. If you're in a cluster with replication configured, be certain to stop replication. Then we'll upgrade the database via the SSG config menu, give a reboot. At that point, gateway is 11.1, database is 11.1, and Debian version 12. We do suggest, highly recommended to install the latest 11.1 monthly platform patch. At this point, your upgrade is complete from 11.0 to 11.1. Now, when you're ready, either immediately after getting to 11.1, or you can run on 11.1 for some time, and a couple of weeks down the road when you're ready to proceed with the upgrade to 11.1.1. The requirements for 11.1.1 upgrades, you must have our patch management service 2.0 installed prior to upgrading to 11.1.1. The updated PMS version ensures stronger signing algorithms are in place in our patches. So you're going to need that in place. So note here, the PMS 2.0 is not applicable to gateway 11.0. So do not install PMS 2.0 on 11.0 install. We've had some clients do that accidentally. And if you do that, you won't be able to upload any patches. You need to Java differences. And we've had to work with them to then uninstall PMS 2.0, give them new PMS 1.0 binaries and get them installed. So PMS 2.0 is only applicable to 11.1. And now with new NECR, database upgrades are now required for each minor release upgrade. So something new going forward. Just showing here a situation you might encounter if you do not have PMS 2.0 installed, if you still have PMS 1.0, but you're required to have that 2.0, and you try and upload a patch and you get an error indicating certificate is not trusted for signing patches, and you get a whole bunch of information about the certificate. Telltale sign here that you're at the patch management service 1.0 and you need to get 2.0 installed. So the files required to upgrade to 11.1.1. So again, we're going to need our Layer 7 API PMS Debian version 2.0 patch and Layer 7 API Gateway Debian 11.1.1 patch. All these upgrade files are available on our solutions and patches page. Anytime you're going for a minor release CR, those are on our solutions and patches page. Going to like 11.1 or 11.2, something like that, those are going to be on support.broadcom.com. But for CRs, everything on solution and patches page. So again, the upgrade process from 11.1 to 11.1.1 for the VM appliance, we'll have our existing 11.1 install. We're going to upgrade to patch management service 2.0 first. Once that's in place, we'll reboot. There will be a gateway 11.1, database 11.1, PMS 2.0. Then we're ready to apply our gateway Debian, the application patch to get the software up to 11.1.1, reboot again. And then once that's in place, again, we'll be able to update the database through the SSG config menu. There will be database 11.1, gateway 11.1, patch management services at 2.0. So at that point, your upgrade to 11.1 for the VM appliance is complete. So with that, we'll move over to software gateway install, how to get to 11.0 to 11.1. Things to know, again, no new gateway license is required. Your current 11x license that you have in place is sufficient. There is a Java update. So from gateway 11 to 11.1, we go from Java 11 to Java 17. So for the software install, make sure you pull down Eclipse 17.0.10, have that in place on the gateway. Our software gateway installs by default, we don't have the PMS 1.0 in place already. So if you haven't applied any patches or anything, pull down PMS 1.0 from the 11.0 installables and get that in place. And you can just use RPM command to install that. The files required to perform the upgrade to 11.1. So we're going to need the Layer7 API Gateway 11.1 patch. And just note here the name of the patch for our software install. We don't have Debian in the name. So that's how you can tell it's our software, because we have had clients that have tried to apply this patch to their VM appliance and it fails, and will open up issues with us. And then looking at the logs, we're able to determine that, hey, you're applying the wrong patch for your VM appliance. So just make sure you have the right patch for your software install and VM appliance install. Again, the 11.1 software upgrade files, you're going to want to log into support, broadcom.com, go over to your downloads and pull down the software installer. So what does the upgrade process look like for the software install? So we'll have PMS in place. We'll make sure that's started. Then we can use that to upload the Layer7 API Gateway 11.1 patch. Once it's uploaded, then we can use the patch sh command again with the install option to get that installed. So we'll have our existing 11.0 gateway install. We're going to apply that Layer7 API Gateway 11.1 patch, reboot. That'll have the Gateway 11.1, Database 11.0, and then we'll need to upgrade the database via setup.sh. Reboot, then we're at Database 11.1, Gateways 11.1. Once you get to 11.1, some post-install requirements. Okay, so again, we have to have Java 17.0.10 in place. You're going to need to update the node.properties file, the node.java path, with the new Java 17 path. Similarly for the host.jre setting within the host.properties file with that new path. And I've also found it helpful if I have a Java home environment variable, I update that as well with that new Java 17 path. So at this point, your upgrade for the software install is complete from 11.0 to 11.1. So then when you're ready, you can proceed with the upgrade to 11.1.1. Again, 11.1 patches available on our solutions and patches page. And again, you must have that PMS 2.0 installed prior to going to 11.1.1. So the files required to perform the upgrade. Again, we have our Layer7 API Gateway 11.1.1 patch. Again, make sure you have that right patch specific to the software install. And the PMS 2.0, notice here, Layer7 API PMS Red Hat 2.0 for the patch management service. Similarly, the upgrade process, so we'll have our existing 11.1 in place. We'll make sure we apply the PMS Red Hat 2.0 patch and reboot. There will be PMS 2.0, Gateway 11.1, Database 11.1. Then we're ready to apply our Layer7 API Gateway application patch. Bring the gateway software up to 11.1.1. And then from there, again, new database update is required. So we'll go in, setup.sh, upgrade the database, get us to 11.1.1. And at that point, your software gateway install is upgraded to 11.1.1 as well. Again, important, just make sure after you upgrade, you use the corresponding version of Policy Manager which matches that gateway version that's in use. So we want Policy Manager 11.1 being used with Gateway 11.1, Policy Manager 11.1.1 being used with Gateway 11.1.1 as well. If you do encounter any problems or errors attempting to perform that upgrade, please, feel free to open up an issue with us. Ask that you provide DCT from the gateway. Just drop into the op DCT directory, run our collect.sh script. It's going to run for a few minutes, generate a DCT, attach that to the support issue along with the problem description that you're having, and we'll be happy to take a look at that for you. And here, just wanted to cover some useful KBs with the 11.0, 11.1 upgrades, just some things in general that have come up. So we have a KB step-by-step process on upgrading from 11.0 to 11.1.1 for the VM appliance. Really good informative KB, just lists each step specific to get you from 11.0 to 11.1.1. Once on 11.x, we've seen instances where we failed to install a patch due to insufficient space on the boot partition. When we're applying those MPPs, we hold on to some extra kernels, take up some space in that boot partition. So this KB article will just go through the process to remove those kernels, clean up space for you, allow you to upload and install patches. Fail to execute SCP command to gateway after the upgrade to 11.1. So typically we've seen this on older, it's generally on Windows. When you try an SCP to the gateway, you might get some error indicating, like a MAC algorithm. So this KB is just going to provide you steps, command option that you can use in that SCP command so it executes successfully. SSH to gateway with custom user results in permission denied error upon login. So we've seen instances where users have created custom OS users, and when trying to SSH to the gateway, you'll get a permission denied error. It's a totally benign error. Everything is fine, but this KB just provides some steps that you can take so that you won't see that message anymore. So with that, we're just gonna move over to change gears a bit and go to our top KBs that we typically are providing to clients for issues that they open. First one, reinitialize replication. We've all seen MySQL replication. It has a tendency can break from time to time. We get a lot of issues on how to repair that. So this KB just goes through the process of how you can sync up those databases, get them back in sync, get replication back in a good state. Next one, certificate related errors. We've all seen those problems either in the logs or audits with, might see something like HTTP routing error, failure to route to some backend host with fatal alert, bad certificate or SSL handshake or cert trusted, but cert found but not trusted for SSL. So this KB really your one-stop shop for any certificate related errors that you might be encountering. Next one, managing audits in a database with the audit purge script. So, a lot of clients doing auditing, those tables within the SSG database can grow quite large. So we have a cron job here that you can use, can run it on demand as well. We'll go out there, clean up those older audits and keep that size of those tables in check. Similarly, managing bin log files with the manage bin log script. When replication is configured, those SSG bin and relay logs, they continue to accumulate. Again, you can set this up as a cron job, run it on demand. If replication's in a good state, execute this, it'll go out there, remove those bin and relay logs that are no longer needed and keep your disk size under control. HTTP, strict transport security header. So a lot of times we've had clients requesting like, hey, I need to add this strict transport security header to any response from the gateway. So this KB article goes through that process of how you can add that header to any response from the gateway if that's a requirement that you have. couple more good KB articles, managing the gateway appliance privileged root account. Several times we have issues where either users that were managing the gateway are on a different team now, they're no longer monitoring the system, the root password is not known. So this KB article will go through, let you know how you can reset the root password if it's not known, or if you just need to change it in general. Support for third-party applications and integrating with third-party tools. Get a lot of issues where clients might want to install like monitoring agents, some tools, and want to know how that might impact the support policy. So this KB goes through that process, provides our stance. You're free to install those utilities. But from the gateway support side, and we wouldn't be involved with the implementation of those utilities. So good KB article to check out as well. How to enable fine logging for a gateway container. Container architecture, right, way different from appliance. So instances where you need to set up more logging for your container, this KB will provide the steps for you to do that. Truncate gateway audits. So again, those audits, they add up quickly, really increase the size of those tables, could even get to the point where the gateway just stops processing requests if it hits a certain threshold. So this KB article just provides step-by-step process on how to truncate those tables, optimize and analyze those tables to get you space back and gateway back up and running. Unwise characters and requests result in 400 bad requests. Any request that comes over to the gateway that contains unwise characters that are not URL encoded, such as the bracket or the curly brace, they will not even make it to the gateway and result in a 400 bad request. So if you're seeing that situation, this KB article provides steps, procedures where you could relax that a bit, add some things to the gateway side to allow those unwise characters to be permitted within the URL when they're not URL encoded and still get processed. Okay, and lastly, just some good sections of the documentation that we want to call out to review. Deprecated cipher suites. So with the update to Java 17, several weak ciphers have been disabled by default within the gateway. This can impact like new listen ports, routing assertions. So we've seen plenty of clients open up issues after they upgrade where they're saying they can't communicate with their backend hosts. And then we take a look and we see that, you know, those backend hosts are using like still legacy, really old ciphers. So you just need to go back into the routing assertion, enable those back at your discretion if they're still required. Route via HTTP, probably one of our most popular assertions used within policy. We still get a bunch of issues for things such as, you know, which certificate or private key, how can I specify the routing assertion to use a private key for client authentication, what headers can I pass through, how to set connection and retimeouts and retries to that backend, what TLS versions and ciphers to use. So highly recommend to check out that section of the doc as well. Enable multiple private keys with the same subject EN. So later versions of the gateway, by default, we prevent the creation of multiple private keys with the same subject EN, since it could lead to inconsistencies and it's against RFC standards. If you have a private key in place and you try and create a new one with that same DN, we're going to throw an error. A new certificate does not certify the public key for the private key, and it'll give the certificate name. Back in like the old 9x and 10.x days, we used to permit that. I believe like 10.1, CR3, 11.0, we became much more stricter on that, where we didn't allow those private keys to exist, if more than one to exist. But a lot of clients indicated that they needed that feature. So we created a cluster-wide property I believe in 10.1 CR3 and 11.0 CR1 to allow that. So you just have to set that key store, allow duplicates by subject DN, cluster-wide property to true, and then you'll be able to have multiple private keys with that same DN. Thinking and policy, great section of the documentation, goes over policy design, policy performance optimization, best practices, goes over how auditing is expensive and should really be used sparingly. Just a really good section of the doc to go through and review. And with that, I think that is it from my side, Pam. So I don't know if any questions did come in.
Okay, yes, we actually do have a couple of questions, but let me do this first. Let me unmute everyone, just in case we get some other questions. So you guys can now come off mute and ask your questions verbally if you would like. But I do see a couple of questions out here. One is from Humphrey, and excuse me, Humphrey, if I'm saying your last name wrong, but Modriano, I think. It says, so when upgrading from 11.0 to 11.1, has PMS 2.0 been included?
When upgrading from 11.0 to 11.1, no. So when you have to apply that patch manually. So it's part of the upgrade process. So when you're on 11.1, at any point, you can apply PMS 2.0. It doesn't get included automatically when you go to 11.1. It's another patch to install.
Okay, so another question, and I hope that cleared that up, Humphrey. And again, you can talk directly if you'd like. But another question from Humphrey as well. Is an upgrade from 11.0 to 11.1.1 possible, or is it only possible from 11.0 to 11.1, followed by 11.1 to 11.1.1?
Yeah, no, good question. Short answer, no. You need to go from 11.0 to 11.1, and then from 11.1 to 11.1.1. So you can't go 11.0 directly to 11.1.1. Got to get to 11.1.
But if he has the software installed, it's probable. Did he
it's possible.
specify?
Yes, yeah. Short answer, no. If you're on a software install, you can get by just manually installing the 11.1.1 application patch. Not documented, but if that's something you're interested in, feel free to open up an issue with us.
Okay, so there's another question from Sebastian Voon. He says, we encountered performance problems on our QA environments after upgrading to 11.1.1. It could be Java 17 SSL context related. Are more clients confronted with this? So I think, Sebastian, if you want to come off mute and clarify, but I think what you're trying to ask is, have others seen the same kind of issue?
Yeah, that's the question, yes.
Okay, I mean, we get a couple of performance type issues. I mean, it's probably very unique to your environment, Sebastian. So what I would suggest is if you're seeing those performance issues, it probably best to open up a support issue and generate a DCT while the problem is happening, while you're seeing those performance issues. And then we can kind of dig in, look at the configuration of the environment, the memory allocation, CPU, look at the thread dumps, see if there's anything blocking there. Yeah, so
The SSL context one, though, is to be addressed in 11.1.2, which is out shortly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's news
Were
to
you
us.
given that as an answer already?
Yeah, that could be. We are this next weekend. We are testing a case which you said we should add the JDK TLS client enable session ticket extension to false. And that's what we're testing next weekend. It
Okay,
could
but
be solved in
11.1.2 should have the updated JDK, which
Ah.
would help you there. There were very few people that had reported something, so, but there, there was a couple, right? Not many.
yeah. Okay, so this can also be a solution for us to wait
Yeah,
for
11.1.2, 11.1.2 if you don't want to make the JDK change.
Yeah. And when will this be released? Do you already know that?
You should
It's really
see an
soon.
announcement soon, very soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have another question from John Shent? What are the main benefits of upgrading from 11.1 to 11.1.1?
Well, there's plenty of improvements and enhancements. The release notes are going to dictate that and spell all that out. I don't know, Charlie, did you have anything in particular with the 11.1.1?
For one, security, right? Vulnerabilities, etc. You update JDK, you update the monthly platform patches. The monthly platform patches have more packages. There's a bunch of nice features besides just being current.
I'd also add that 11.0 goes into life in January 2026. So for many of you who take a long time to do upgrades, you want to start thinking about it now.
Wasn't the Java 14 upgrade also, or a 17 upgrade also a big performance boost as well?
We did get some performance benefits in that release, yes. So it'd be reliability, security, new enhancements, new features, but also, again, to think about getting off of the version that will go end of life next and into life in January 2026.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not seeing any more questions in the panel, but we can wait and just see if others have questions they'd like to ask.
I posted a question,
Okay.
but it was more of a statement. That cipher piece that Daren was talking about, where you needed to go into the route, I believe that's also changed where you can do that global in the up and coming release.
11.1.2.
So that's a feature to look out for that might be valuable for 11.1.2.
Yeah, we add a cluster-wide property where you can specify the ciphers that you want by default be included in 11.1.2.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Okay.
We went from like 11.0 to 11.1.1.1 on container architecture. We have not necessarily upgraded the GitHub version. GitHub repo version. I think we're on 3.20 on that. So is that still okay? I mean, it's been running okay with our test cases, but we just want to make sure.
Ben, you have any thoughts on that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so we upgraded the container architecture from 11.0 to 11.1.1 without upgrading the GitHub repo version. So we just want to make sure, like, is that okay?
Yeah, that is fine. When you say the GitHub repo, are you talking about the Helm charts used to deploy it, or are you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that probably is okay. They're not necessarily tightly coupled. most commonly, we might just change the default gateway image version in that repo as we deliver new releases. But we might otherwise be delivering other enhancements to the Helm charts separately from releases. Sometimes there might be, well, there's usually strong dependencies, but it might be recommended to stay current on both going forward to get the benefit of changes to both over time.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Yep.
I have a question. Sorry, I was late to this meeting. So for appliance upgrade from 11.0 to 11.1, is the PMS 2.0 installation is mandatory, or we don't have to install that?
That's required when you go to 11.1.1.
Okay.
But even on 11.1, like if you're applying later monthly platform patches, PMS 2.0 is required. So yeah,
Yeah,
if you're
I
just,
mean, we did have instant. I mean, I followed the instruction. So after 11.0, 11.1, like upgrade, and we did apply the PMS 2.0 patching.
yep, you're fine.
However, we did have the issue when we tried to deploy the monthly patching. We cannot install the patching on the appliance for 11.1.
So you have 11.1 installed and PMS 2.0 installed, and you're trying to apply a MPP and it's failing?
You couldn't. It just always complain, always fail.
I wonder if you're applying a older MPP than PMS 2.0.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what it fails with?
PMS 2.0 to be able to update our signing key for our patch files. And so you need to have PMS 2.0 to apply MPPs or other patch files delivered to you for other purposes, including gateway upgrades after that point in time that are signed with the new signing key. So there's a timing thing there.
Yeah, I think it's like August 2024 is when you'd be required to use PMS 2.0. Are you applying a patch? Do you know what patch you were trying to apply?
I applied the latest one, which is February patching, right?
Okay, and you're running
February
into
patching for 11.1. So it just failed. It couldn't. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we could take a look at that for you for sure to see what's going on.
Yeah, I would open a support case. Could be, it depends on the error, right? So if your kernel, if your boot is full, no matter what you apply, boot's still going to fail and going to be full. I just open a case and attach a DCT that Daren mentioned earlier.
Another question is are there going to be a record session for today's meeting?
Yes, there's a recording.
Okay,
Yep.
that would be great.
And it's actually on the same platform, but it will also be available on our YouTube channel, which I put the link to our YouTube channel in the chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely. I'm not seeing any more questions come in the panel. Does anyone have any more questions for Daren?
I'm sorry, you say you post in the chat, right? It seems like I cannot see it. The link.
Okay. I wonder if it's because you joined. Let me send it again.
I joined from the browser, so I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like I can type in the question, but I don't see any content from it. I mean, there's no button for chat.
Yeah, there is on the panel. But I tell you what,
Yeah.
Type it in the, you see the questions, right?
I don't see the questions. That's the thing. I see there's a question
What is
tab.
your, it's okay. Yeah, can you, if you expand that?
Yeah,
It should be
I
okay.
click the question tab. I mean,
Yeah, can you type a question? Like what will it be?
I think I can type a question.
Yeah, type it and then let me reply
Say
this
I
to
type.
you.
Okay, I type test, right?
I
Now,
see
yeah,
that.
you
I
can.
see that.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
reply to that. That means
Okay, I've
I
got you.
need a link.
I'll wait
Yeah.
for you again. We'll get it to you one way or the other. We'll get it to you.
Okay. Yeah, if you can just
Absolutely.
put the link there. Yeah, because
Mhm.
it's I was late, so that's why it's important. This
Yeah, it's okay.
session is very
I got
important.
your name.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I got the link.
All right. And you can always reach out to me, anyone on the call, reach out to me directly if you have questions about the office hours. Pamela.Deason@broadcom.com.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, it sounds like we're good then for today. I hope you all join us again in April. And thank you again, Daren, for presenting today.
No problem.
We will end it. Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.